If I take our viewers through here, exactly the three places there were attacks suspected to be terror strikes, but that is yet to be established. Of course, we know one of the cases here, New Orleans, the man who literally barged his pickup truck into a crowd on a busy street belongs to the ISIS, and that confirmation has come about. In fact, that truck and that person killed 15 people and injured nearly 30. The other explosion that was reported was right in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. A Cybertruck that exploded, it killed one person who was standing right outside with his luggage and injured at least 7 others. And we know the third attack that happened late last night was Queens, New York City, mass shooting where 11 people were injured. In fact, the person comes out and goes on a rampage, shooting people at sight. Thankfully, there's been no casualties in this, but 11 people have been injured. Now, are these coordinated terror strikes? Raises a lot of questions. United States FBI, of course, at this point, are investigating this as an act of terror. Let me bring in Gaurav Sawant, who's also been tracking the story very closely for us. Gaurav, we're looking at multiple strikes in the United States, a bad start to the new year, and it's shocking that one of those cases, New Orleans, it's established that the man belongs to ISIS, an army veteran who worked with the American army for nearly a decade, joins ISIS, puts out multiple videos of him joining the ISIS and pulls off this attack before he was shot dead. He actually stepped out of his car or his truck and went on a rampage shooting people as the cops gunned him down in time. Give us more on what more do we know if this is all coordinated.
So there are details now available in public domain about Shamsuddin Jabbar. Shamsuddin Jabbar is that US Army veteran who's a veteran of Afghanistan operations. He was there in 2009 and 10. He was a reservist between 15 and 20. The man who's said to be responsible for the New Orleans attack. And this was a planned, well-coordinated attack according to American investigators. Preliminary reports from the US seem to indicate that he not only took that the Ford 150 electric pickup truck on rent, apparently put some improvised explosive devices on it. He wore body armor himself, had weapons, and he deliberately plowed through a group of people and a large group of people early in the morning on New Year's Day. Now, you know this Bourbon Street in New Orleans is popular amongst tourists, and lakhs assemble there each year. So he deliberately plowed his truck through the crowd. At least 15 are confirmed dead, more than 30 are injured. Now, apart from that, he came out of his vehicle and then indiscriminately is alleged to have started shooting at people and at security forces. So the moment an alert went up and security forces, the New Orleans police, they challenged him, they tackled him. He shot at and injured 2 policemen before he was taken down and neutralized. So his videos, some of his videos have come forward, have come to the fore, where he actually said that he was inspired by the Islamic State. He wanted to not just be a part of ISIS, but also words to the effect that he wanted to kill people. And unfortunately, he succeeded in killing at least 15. Are the other 2 incidents linked or not? Well, the vehicles were hired from the same website in Las Vegas and in New Orleans. That is the only link so far. Other links are still under investigation.
Let me also bring in Shashank Mattu, who's been tracking this story closely. Shashank, what we saw at the Las Vegas hotel, outside Trump Hotel, was shocking. Tesla Cybertruck goes up in flames, and we see and hear from the police itself that there could be links between this Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas and the New Orleans attack. Both could be terror attacks. What do you think prompts the police to believe this is an act of terror?
Well, there are a couple of things that indicate that there may be some links between these 2 attacks. First of all, of course, that both attackers used vehicles that were hired from the same vehicle hiring app. It's called Turo. So they use the same thing. Both men in question have a military background. Both the gentlemen involved in the Las Vegas attack as well has a military background. Investigative authorities know the name of the attacker, but have not public as yet, but what is known or what is being reported right now is that there is a military background there as well, the same as the attacker in New Orleans as well. So they're using, as well as the fact that the method of attack is also similar, using a vehicle, and both vehicles were also packed with improvised explosive devices, IEDs. So the question now that a lot of investigators are asking is, two people with military backgrounds, former military backgrounds, also using fairly similar methods of packing cars with explosive devices, using the same app to hire vehicles as well, and also picking a very, very popular time of the year when people are out for New Year's. The Super Bowl, which is a very important event for America culturally, was set to happen as well. So they picked the right time, the same method, the same background in some senses, and the same modus operandi. So there are questions about whether these two attacks are linked, in fact.
It's shocking, Shashank, that Tesla truck, the way it exploded outside that Trump hotel, we hear that truck made a couple of rounds and did a recce of sorts before it actually parked up and went off. Do we know if there was a driver sitting inside that truck? In fact, those are the visuals playing on our screens there, the explosion outside Trump hotel. Do we know if the driver was also inside when that vehicle exploded? Because one man standing very close with his luggage died.
Yes, the sense is that the authorities have retrieved a badly burned body. That's what we're hearing at this point in time. And there is, of course, the identity of the attacker as well. But one badly burned body has been retrieved at this point in time. They're still trying to figure out the identity of the individual in question. But what we know, of course, is that the car was hired in the state of Colorado. It was then driven to Las Vegas.
Our defense budget is pretty gigantic. It's
an
like
hour,
$1 trillion.
And then the bombing happened. So now there are going to be an identification process going to take place on the body, trying to figure out whether this is in fact linked to the attacker, as well as what the identity of the body could possibly be, and whether there are any links to the person, Shamsuddin Jabbar, who has carried out the attacks in New Orleans. That is what investigative authorities are going to be focusing on.
You know, bringing in Gaurav on this as well. Gaurav, how long has it been since an ISIS-related attack has been reported in the United States? We know that the U.S. has clamped down on this as far as possible. This has certainly come as a shocker. The New Orleans attack certainly now has been established as an ISIS-motivated attack. It could very well likely be even this Tesla Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas connected to the same. How do you think the U.S. government is handling this? The last few days that's left for Joe Biden now.
So this will be a huge challenge for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The state police will carry out their own probe, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation will carry out a wider, bigger probe. Should these be linked, as initial reports seem to indicate, military background of the perpetrators, trucks hired from the same location, trucks, electric trucks in both instances, some other links that are still under investigation. As far as Shamsuddin Jabbar is concerned, some of his superiors, they've come on social media to say that he was a very fine soldier when he served in Afghanistan. He was very diligent. He was working as a clerk with the US forces in Afghanistan. He was a very disciplined person. Point one. Point two, he was someone who actually worked in the real estate sector in the United States of America, said that his military discipline had helped him. They're trying to piece together his personality. He also worked with a consultancy called Deloitte and was earning something like $10,000 a month. He, of course, was going through a split in his personal life, was fighting a divorce, was late on payments of his credit cards, so he was in financial trouble. But what took him to the direction of radical Islamist terror is a matter of investigation. But whether you see Europe or the United States, truck, vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices or VBIED, and vehicles going into a crowd like they did in Germany in the Christmas market and in the past. So this is a weapon of choice of radical Islamist terrorists, especially lone wolves. But in this instance, the FBI suspects there is a larger network of operatives, of terrorists who may have been involved in both these cases. But those who helped him rig the device together, the B&B where they stayed at an Airbnb. There was a fire in an Airbnb. That's a matter of investigation right now. So there are several loose ends that need to be pieced together in this investigation at this stage, Nabila.